making their way back into the pits, as well as Isaac Vinales. So the top 6 now in the standings in free practice 1 all back in.
Yeah, and we've got 1.4 seconds basically separating the top 5, so a little bit of ground to be made up for a lot of riders, but at this stage, nothing really to worry about. Good to see Tom Sykes back in action this weekend. Obviously, former world champion, and he's had it pretty tough since that crash in Catalonia, but good to see him back in action.
Yes, Tom Sykes returning this weekend. Had a severe concussion, a big incident for him back in mid-September, so it's been a fair rest. Nice to see the very tropical helmet design. That's quite appropriate for these surroundings as well.
Yeah, the winter testing helmet for Tom, and gets a last outing, and certainly for Sykes, he's going to be motivated to try and finish strong over the course of this weekend. Still a bit of talk about where he's going to be next year. Potentially Motor America or BSB on a Ducati looks like the best options for him, and in all likelihood looks like it's probably going to be a return to Britain for him. But for Tom, this is him signing off for now on the World Championship. He says that he still has ambitions to come back as well in the future, so it'll be interesting to see where Tom does end up.
That may well play a part in his decision as to where to go for next season, to try and open himself up a route to return with competitive machinery. I think competitive machinery is the key, because Sykes was, it sounded like, offered a ride with the Bonovo team for next season, something that he didn't appear too keen on, and I think the relationship has ended up being fairly fractious between himself and the BMW late on in 2021. It is good to see Tom Sykes back in the paddock this weekend, having missed 3 rounds in a row. One started to suspect that we might not see him in the remainder of World SBK for 2021. He is back on the grid this weekend. As far as BMW are concerned, though, they've wrapped up the signings of Eugene Laverty and Loris Baz between rounds to ride with that Bonovo outfit, and BMW continuing to insist that the 4 riders will have equal machinery and equal opportunities as far as next season is concerned.
Yeah, and it's interesting for BMW to extend and expand their World SBK operation, and certainly Loris Baz showed whenever he came in for 2 rounds at Jerez and Portimao, he's still got that front running pace. So for BMW, they've got themselves lined up with good rider lineup: Van der Mark and Scott Redding on the factory bikes, and then Eugene Laverty and Baz on the satellite team, and that's going to give them a lot of good information, a lot of good data, and hopefully allows them to make that step forward, because what we've seen over the course of this year especially is the BMW can be a good bike in World SBK, but it just needs to make that bit of a step to be a lot more adaptable over the course of a full season.
Yes, and a little bit more consistent. I think the 2 of those will come in together. A little bit of a shame, actually, for Loris Baz to be changing machinery yet again.
Yeah, but for Baz, at least his 1 year in America is paid off by getting back onto a World SBK grid, and that's what you've got to do. He actually did a good job in America. I think there was an expectation that he'd go over there and win the championship, but realistically that wasn't going to be an option, because we've seen all the way through the last few years that the Yamaha is a really strong package over there. The Attack Performance team always do a really good job turning out their bikes for Cameron Bobia, Garrett Gerloff in the past, and Jake Gagne this year, and certainly what we've seen all the way through is that it's a challenge to get those results in America. Baz was able to get a lot of podiums, and he finished the season quite strong, but it opened the door to get back to here.
Yes, team, bike, all factors, and of course new circuits as well for Loris Baz out in the US, but he will be back in the World Championship for 2022, and plenty of reasons to look forward to next season, just as we've enjoyed this, and we expect a similar front-running battle to what we've had in 2021. Let's hope.
Yeah, you certainly hope for it, and with Toprak and Jonathan Ray, you'd expect both of them to be very strong all the way through next season. Ducati's going to be interesting. You put Alvaro Bautista back on that bike, you expect to see him very strong.
And we even hear rumblings that if Toprak can manage to seal the World Championship, a certain Mr. Sofoglu is pushing for there to be a Turkish round back on the calendar, and would certainly like to go back to Istanbul.
Yeah, Istanbul. It's been gotten ready for World Championship action again, with Formula 1 returning there last year, so the track looks like it'd be still a fantastic place to go racing, and certainly the atmosphere will be something else. So with a bit of luck, that's something that can happen in future, because the Turkish fans definitely want to be able to see Toprak on a superbike, Can Oncu, Bahattin Safoglu as well. There's a lot of good young riders coming through in Turkey. Alex Lowe's back on track this weekend. Now, he's had a few aborted attempts to return from injury. He has been struggling with injury niggles throughout this 2021
2021 campaign, had a pre-season crash all the way back in February that sort of knocked him early on, but mainly the big incident in Barcelona. That seems like a demolition derby of a weekend looking back at it. So for Alex Lowes, tried to come back in Jerez, did a great job in the Superpole session, got up on the front row of the grid, struggled for fitness in the first race and was then withdrawn. Returned in San Juan last time out, that was about a month ago now, and couldn't make it to the end of that weekend either. Two races in one day, proving too much for him on the Sunday. So he returns again this weekend. He's had more time to recover this time around. Remember, when he first injured himself, it was part of that triple header, so it was an intense period, and that was fairly inevitable that he would struggle through that. San Juan also came on fairly quickly, just a couple of weeks after Portimao. He's had a longer rest period. He's also had a surgery since the last round.
Yeah, he was in Barcelona just after Argentina for surgery, and looks like his hand's fully repaired now, and that was one of the big issues in Argentina. Obviously, he's had the shoulder injury all the way through the season as well, so it's been a tough campaign for Lowes, but hopefully this is the beginning of his recovery as well, up there fourth fastest on the opening run of the day as well. So certainly for him, he's going to want to finish his season strong. Obviously, he'll know that the winter testing programme